Hey guys, tonight's episode is brought to you by AP Prep. That is AP Prep in Chillicothe, Ohio. One of our good old buddies, Jason Prater, started this business a long time ago, man, and they earn every day at AP Prep. So if you're sitting around, maybe carrying a few extra pounds, much like myself and, being a chubby bartender, and you want to get your fat ass to work, get over there, get a hold of Jason Prater at AP Prep. Or maybe you're a young athlete that wants to be your best you. Earn the day at AP Prep.
They've been driving athletes to seize full genetic potential since 2007. These guys focus in on speed, agility, power, and development. They offer boxing, conditioning, and any other thing that'll get your fat ass into shape. Go look them up on AP Prep at Facebook.com or AP Prep at Instagram.com. Look them up online at AthletePerformancePrep.com. See you there.
Yeah, get better.
Well,
Chad comes prepared.
I know. I'm like hesitant to get into stories.
How do you like your coffee? This is,
Ooh.
Maybe we should do this on the air.
I know, that's what
hit go.
Cigar on the air.
Hit go. We're live.
Are we live?
Yes.
We're live.
Trent
Fannin from Rōst Coffee, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Out of Chillicothe, Ohio. Glad to have you, man. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for coming on, man.
I've been looking forward to this one all week.
Yeah. So have I. As soon as I heard this, I was like, wow, man, let's go.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I'm excited, though. We're getting started here. We got an IPA over there to try. We've got cigars.
Yep.
And I think it's interesting. You're definitely a coffee guy, correct? Am I
Absolutely
fair to say that?
Fair.
Okay.
That's fair.
So a lot of people, when they don't smoke a lot of cigars, or they're coming in, they're like, well, what kind of cigar should I get? What do I like? Well, I don't know, man. Like, how do you like your coffee? Do you like it? I've got two to choose from here. One's a more mild version, and one is a little different taste.
Yeah.
So do you like your coffee black, or do you like if you're just having a straight up cup of coffee, black or cream and sugar?
Black. Yeah.
Well, right here you go. Then you're a Maduro guy. So we'll see if I hit it or not.
I recognize the brand, so that's probably a good thing, right?
Oh yeah, it's a CAO Flathead 660. One of my favorites.
Cool.
Solid box pressed. I think you'll enjoy it.
Cool.
Okay. I don't know what I'm smoking a Wayfarer.
Oh, that's one we looked at the last time.
Yeah, that's the compliments of Josh Rōst.
So that coffee reference is a common.
Well,
is that a common?
You know what? It's kind of a good starting point, kind of a jump off point.
Okay.
In my opinion, take your finger with it. I mean, that's just one way that people will if you don't smoke them a lot.
Yep.
Like there's several different types of tobacco blends, several different types of cigars, and that just kind of gives you the. Okay, if I know how you like your coffee, and if you like it black and strong like that, then you're probably going to like a more peppery cigar.
Yep.
That's a little stronger, a little deeper.
Okay.
So that's what we're going with. You can tell me whether it works or not. You
Right,
might taste
right.
this, and be like, man, that's garbage. Then we'll know that theory is debunked.
Right. Cool.
What'd you bring us?
So I brought some goodies as well. You want to dig in? Or
I'll let you do the digging
Okay,
in. You
all
tell
right.
me how you want to do this.
Okay.
Man. We are off the now. Here's what we're going to do tonight, folks. We are not that I've been drinking some coffee now. Chad, not so much.
Yeah, Folgers.
Well, I'm saying on the show.
Oh, on the show, yeah. No, on the show. I mean, this is. My goodness, I don't know where we're going to go tonight. No bottle of bourbon open tonight.
I know. This is different for us. We're doing this just for you. So you've calmed.
We're like, hey, coffee. We're focusing on the coffee tonight.
Yeah,
we're not ruining the palate.
That's
so.
right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you stopped the chubby bartenders from drinking.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've got an IPA. So does Trent.
Right.
Yeah. But it mixes well with coffee, I'm sure.
It does. So what you got?
Sure.
Let's see.
All right. So we have just recently started kind of getting into the bottling game. Go ahead and shake this guy up. But this is a seasonal of ours, pumpkin spice latte.
Okay.
Our pumpkin spice latte is pretty unique. We make a homemade sauce instead of a syrup for it.
Okay.
We make a pumpkin sauce, and it's pretty awesome. So
All right.
so I'll let you just kind of dig into that before I describe it too much.
Okay.
And then our black cold brew.
I haven't had mine yet that you gave me the other day.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I brought a bag of our.
Oh, nice.
This is a natural processed Brazil. This is easily our top seller.
Okay.
I call it my coffee drinker's coffee.
Nice.
It's about
That's your daily pot right there.
That's it right there. Yeah. If we had a house brew, that would probably be it.
That's your house brew? We'll have to get into
Yeah.
this.
and then a bottled Cubano. That's kind of like our.
Hey, now I had that the other day.
Yeah.
Now Reynolds, I'll let you indulge in that one.
I've got a bag over here too, man.
Yep.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh,
you got your own. So this is you, Pudge.
Oh,
right
this
here.
is just me.
Oh yeah.
Oh, hey Chad. Now can he indulge in that first, or should he go with like the black?
I would because the cream and the half and half might lay on your tongue a little bit. I'd start with the cold brew. That's what I would start with first. Yeah. I mean, and that is as pure as it gets. There's nothing there. That's
And
a
the one
24
thing we don't
hour.
have is a bottle opener.
Well.
Hang on, boys.
Well, Pudge has a bottle opener. I've seen him do this
Yeah,
before.
I'll be right back.
Should bring you one?
Yeah. You want to do these while you're at it?
Here.
Well, I'll just have to get up. Well, might as well.
Yeah, let's open them all.
Get on to talking and all.
Yeah.
There you go.
Here, I'll get your
I
cigar
came
started while we're
unprepared.
doing it.
I'm
No, you
sorry.
didn't. No, we did, man.
Yeah.
I don't know why the bottle openers keep walking away from here. I don't know why, but
Yeah.
I'll start this off. I'll get toasted up here for you, and then
Yeah, it's funny. We'll probably be able to run laps around this place here in about 30 minutes.
yeah, I would imagine we're gonna have a little bit of caffeine in our system. I'd say.
Yeah.
I didn't really want to sleep tonight anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But no, so the ones you brought tonight, would you say these are your most popular selections?
Yeah, so the Cubano and the cold brew we just we carry yearly.
Okay.
Even in the winter and the cold months, we'll still sell a lot of these.
Okay. Now, like, what would you say sales-wise, cold brew to your hot brews or regular coffees, lattes, stuff like that? My God, it sounds like we're tearing the building down over there.
We'll turn the camera for this. That's the main show right now. Right?
Yeah.
A little bit of hillbilly
But do
ingenuity.
do you guys sell a lot of the cold brews compared to hot coffee?
We do, yeah. And I would say our average customer comes in as wanting something with some cream and sugar or a flavored latte.
Sure.
But part of our approach at the shop and my
Yes,
approach
sir.
kind of as a coffee roaster, thank you,
Uh-huh.
has always been to kind of get people into the purity of what that drink
Of what it is.
can
Yeah,
be.
right,
Absolutely.
right.
Because that's what hooked me, you know.
All right, so like, give me a little, like, when you say that, what you're saying is you like for people to try it in its original form without putting a lot of stuff in it first.
Absolutely,
like, hey,
yeah.
Like let's try this black just the way that it is.
Absolutely. I always encourage if someone is a coffee drinker
Uh-huh.
and they might mainly drink coffee with cream and sugar on a daily basis, I'll encourage them like, hey, this is a little bit different from the quality of the coffee that I buy, from
Yeah.
the way I roast it and the way we brew it. Just give it a minute and try it black and see what you think, you know?
Yeah.
And we've got converts left and right, and that's what I've built my business on.
Right.
So
Well, I mean,
mine or
that's probably
yours?
how you tell the true.
that's
You want that
that's you. I just brought one cold brew for myself.
So you're going to spice me up on all this stuff?
Yeah, you're not going to sleep tonight, Bud.
Yeah. Well, I can't do that Cubano tonight.
I'm gonna set this here for 2
Not
seconds.
because you told me the other day that these were pretty potent. These ones right here.
These are very potent. So
That's all right.
love
Bring
it.
it.
I
Let's
love
go.
it. I
Bring it
love
on.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, I stay up all night and I do something good. I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's right. Heck,
You
you
know?
might just take a walk when you leave.
Cheers, boys,
Cheers,
to the
man.
coffee,
Let's
to
go.
the black
Absolutely.
roast cold brew.
Yeah. So
Roast coffee.
on the side, we actually highlight kind of what it was brewed with. So this was brewed with our Burundi. It's an African coffee.
Okay.
It's really bright, flavorful. So when you taste this, let it dance around on your tongue for a minute, and you'll taste some notes to it, kind of like a good wine or an IPA, obviously. You taste some citrus notes in an IPA. This will be bright and
I
fruity.
learned a little bit right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could feel it.
Yeah.
Could you?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. I know exactly
Man,
what you're saying.
that's delicious.
And I'm
a
not
little
a cold.
chocolatey kind of
Little chocolatey, yeah.
Yep.
And you brewed that right there in house.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So the style we brew this, it's called a cold brew because we literally brew it cold. We submerge a coffee to water ratio in ice water in a big walk-in cooler for 24 straight hours, and this is what you get, which is why it's kind of like rocket fuel.
Okay, so you're getting the bean, all right, in
Yep.
bulk.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. You're grinding it. Tell me the process.
Yep.
Yeah,
So-
the roasting is what I'm curious because there's some differentiation in that, correct?
Absolutely, yeah. So just like apples, let's say if you went out picking some apples. That's a good.
We got
reference.
we actually have a man coming on here shortly, not tonight, but in a few episodes that has an apple orchard.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Steve Richards.
Yeah, so that's a very relatable term that I kind of go to with a lot of people. Everybody knows apples, and
Especially
apples
here.
have a lot of varieties, you know.
Oh.
So if we walked through the apple orchard right now, and I went through and picked up all the high-hanging fruit, and you walked around and grabbed all of the fruit that's on the bottom, getting rotten, stepped on and trampled on, and is gross, and we both made apple cider. Which one are you going to want?
Well, no question.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I had to think about it. You don't want to cheat
You
yourself.
want
I had to
to
think about it.
make sure it wasn't a trick question.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
think
it's not
before
a
you
trick
speak.
question.
I was trying to use that reference.
It's not a trick question. And so that's kind of what I seek out. And there's a lot of farmers now, especially, it's 2020, and through the use of technology, social media, and I've connected with farmers all over the world, and I'm able to kind of buy directly from them.
Awesome.
And bring it in right to Chillicothe, Ohio, and then I roast. Each coffee that I get, I spend a little bit of time with. I'll sample batch it, I'll sample roast it, and I'll profile it, what's called a profile. So I will roast that coffee to several different times and temperatures to see where I feel like it peaks in flavor. Okay. And once I feel like I've done that, I'll lock that in on my big production roaster and serve it in the shop.
So how do you go about? I mean, this shows my ignorance, but how do you go about roasting them? Like, I mean, there's actually these coffee bean roasters, or like,
absolutely?
Okay.
Yeah. Like
an oven, or I mean,
it's no, it almost looks like, my kids call it. They say it looks like a train. So I could probably show you here. This maybe there you go, right there. So that's kind of the front of a roaster.
Okay.
So it's got a cast iron drum that it roasts in, almost rotisserie
it
style.
rolls them.
Yep. It
Almost
rolls
like
it.
roasting peanuts, then. Like they do.
Roasting peanuts, roasting cocoa beans. It's the same thing. Actually, a lot of people roast cocoa beans in coffee roasters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it gets roasted. I can do one batch for myself. In my roaster, I've got a 12-kilo roaster, so I can roast about 27 pounds at a time, and I yield out of that about 20, 21 pounds because you lose weight when you roast.
So every one of these, so 2 bags for every roast?
Basically, yeah.
So you're roasting 24/7?
No, I can do, so one batch, for instance, takes me about 11 and a half minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I can get a few batches per hour.
Yeah.
So...
Huh.
Yeah.
But you're still that's helping it out pretty good because you're selling an extreme amount of coffee.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And where you're doing it, are you finding that that's cost efficient though? Like doing all those processes yourself?
Absolutely. Yeah. And that that's where that level of control is why we can create a different product. At our coffee shop from where,
and increase the quality of what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Now, and so do you package everything there yourself and everything?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh wow! How many employees do you have?
I would say we're probably about 15 right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, man, that's cranking.
Yeah.
What's your hours? So in a coffee shop, are you 4 a.m.? I mean, are you ready to rock? I mean,
personally, or our shop hours?
Your shop.
Our shop hour, we 7 to 7.
7 to 7.
Yep, 7 to 7, and right now we also have a full kitchen, so we serve breakfast and lunch.
Cool.
Yeah, so the kitchen's open till 2 right now, but you can get coffee all day long. So, yeah.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
So, but there is a lot more work that goes into that than what people would think. But that's more of the craft of it. That's why you're.
Absolutely.
Tell us about your brand there.
Yeah,
man.
absolutely.
So
we're called Rōst, and we actually started in 2013. And I remember my wife and I were on a drive right before. I was in the construction industry as well. I'd been in coffee for a long time, and we were about ready to make this transition to start our own business, our own company, our own brand. And I was just brainstorming with my wife on a drive, and I was like, what should we call this thing? And she's like, well, what are you going to be doing? And I'm like, we're roasting. That's initially there was no retail shop. It was, I wanted to start. I'd been in the coffee game for a long time as well. I'd managed other shops and been a part of a couple other partnerships. And so when we started up, I wanted to just start roasting and wholesaling and kind of build that foundation of, when I wholesale, most of my customers I work with are on a weekly roasting schedule for just to keep things fresh for them. So I wanted to kind of build that foundation of that residual income before we stepped into the retail game to where, we had that financial foundation, that financial support coming in from those wholesale accounts,
Yeah.
And so that's why, she was just like, from the simplest form of when we were starting the company, we were just roasting, and so when I Googled, I went ahead and Googled the word roast, R-O-A-S-T. And when you Google the definition of a word, it writes it out phonetically underneath, so you know how to pronounce a word.
Yeah.
And when it wrote it out phonetically, it spelled it R-O-S-T with what's called a macron above the O.
Okay.
And I got to looking at that, and I'm like, man, that looks like a brand in and of itself. Like, that's it right there. It's
there
Rōst.
It is. Yeah.
There it is. You know, and
one of them epiphanies.
Yeah, and I showed my wife the phone. I'm like, that's it right there, and she's like, that's cool, and we rolled with it. So. Yeah.
So tell us, start to finish, or not. You don't have to go to finish, but tell us how this all. Tell us the beginning story. Now we've got an inside track on one of your buddies here. So he kind of told us a few things about you, as far as he said you're just a grinder, not in the literal sense of the.
I'm that too.
You see what I did there? Oh, son of mercy, honey, hush.
No pun intended.
He's a grinder, but he said that we need to talk about, basically how you got into this and what led up to all this.
Yeah.
What got you interested? What gave you the bug?
You're from Ohio? You're from here, right?
I'm born and raised in the big metropolis of Bucky Russ, Ohio.
Bucky Russ.
I can't say I've ever heard of that.
Bucyrus.
Okay.
Best bratwurst in the world.
Bratwurst capital of America, man.
Okay, so you're in Bucyrus. What's it like? What are you doing?
Yeah, so honestly, it's kind of funny. I have a few friends from the Jackson area, and I tell them all the time. Every time I drive through Jackson, I feel like I'm in Bucyrus. I mean, very similar, man. I mean, we just don't have a big giant apple up in the sky.
Yeah,
but they look identical. And honestly, my dad was an electrician growing up. My mom was a stay-at-home mom and went to the local city school. And I had a great upbringing. We didn't have. It was just a humble little town, just very similar to Jackson. But I loved it. I loved my upbringing, and. So I don't have anything negative to say. I think a lot of people coming from small towns, they kind of have that mindset of I can't wait to get out of here. I know. But
we embrace it, and I think everybody leaves for a while.
Yeah.
And then some people come back and some don't. I don't think there's a wrong answer either way, man.
Absolutely. Well, not to sound like a country song, but a small town's a small town.
Yeah. Yep.
You can trade headaches and problems and faces. But, you're just trading.
Absolutely.
They're still going to be there.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I've found too that the older I've gotten, the more my appreciation has grown for those small towns, the benefits that those small towns offer, especially being a family man. So
of course.
Yeah. So keep going.
Yeah. So from high school, I graduated high school 2003, and I actually played all sports growing up, and I had a couple of different opportunities with football and basketball, but basketball was kind of my first love, and I've always grew up wanting to play college basketball.
Okay.
And so I got a college scholarship to play basketball at Mount Vernon Nazarene University.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Up in Mount Vernon, Ohio. And
hence the Ondara boys.
Yeah.
Is that where you met them?
No. I met them through a mutual, actually, donuts. That's kind of our story.
All right, we'll have to go to that here in a minute. We'll get back to that one. But
absolutely.
Tell us about. Okay, keep going. Basketball, Mount Vernon. Nazarene.
So I actually went to Mount Vernon for 2 years. After my second year, I was just kind of burnt out. College sports is no joke, and I was in college to play basketball. And so the balance of college is a big demand, and I realized I had enough kind of at that point in time, So I left Mount Vernon without the scholarship. It was pretty expensive school at the time, so I'm like, I'm just going to take some time off. Took some time off, and right about actually when I was in college is when I had my first cup of good coffee, and that's kind of where the coffee journey starts.
Okay. You remember it?
I remember it very vividly. Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
And it's funny on my show. The first question I ask everybody is, "What's your earliest memory of coffee?" and that's kind of where I started.
I picked up on that. I watched your stuff.
Yeah. So that kind of ties the theme in, but then where that story goes, nobody knows. Which is the beauty of what we're doing tonight.
Sure.
Right.
Absolutely. I can honestly say this is probably my first bottled cold brew.
Yeah,
I've had a few. I tell you, that was really good. Mine's already gone.
Yours is gone.
Oh, yours is gone. You gonna jump over to the pumpkin spice latte?
I'm waiting for him to give me direction on the next
hey,
move.
or should he go? I mean, I want him to
on.
taste the Cubano.
I know. I would take a sip of one of each right now at this point.
Yeah, hey, little chaser.
There you go.
Yeah. You guys are gonna have me so jacked up here.
Oh, Melissa, I'm sorry.
Nah, she won't care. I'll be.
Yeah, so that Cubano is kind of like what I say is it's our cold version of a traditional Cuban coffee. So
just you go at this easy now.
Yeah. Oh boy, that's delicious.
I'm telling you, it's incredible.
That
He brought
really
this down to the bar the other day, and I was like, "Oh my God, yeah." Had a toothache.
Wow.
Remember that?
Did it take it away?
No, it did. Yeah. So I went to the dentist today. They can't figure out what is wrong with my tooth. Why it keeps hurting.
You might want to keep that out of the bar, dude. People will be dumping vodka in that.
Well, that's what we're doing.
Oh, right.
Yeah, we're going to announce. We're selling this at the bar now.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
That is
not
good.
yet. Unless you brought it tonight. Did you bring the first supply tonight?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
no. We'll be locked and loaded tomorrow.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. We open tomorrow.
In college, though, I took a trip to Columbus with some friends, and up until that point, coffee, my first recollection of coffee was going to McDonald's with my grandpa,
there you go. Absolutely.
And I just remember associating that with my grandpa's coffee breath,
Yep.
and I'm like, man, this is awful. How do you do this?
Yeah.
From that time till I was in college, till I needed caffeine,
Oh yeah.
I never drank it,
Yeah.
and in college, naturally, late nights, early mornings,
Oh yeah.
started drinking.
What do you think that is that ticks? It happens.
Yeah, it does.
You go from in high school. I mean, I don't know. They probably are drinking coffee now in high school.
I would say because it's more accessible for sure.
Well,
If
yeah,
there's
like it shows my age, but like if I run back to when I was in high school,
Yeah.
like Starbucks wasn't a thing.
No.
Yeah.
So like now, I mean, I got my kids that are not even 10 years old that are kind of like, oh, can we get some at Starbucks? Can we get, all the frozen drinks and
Do you see that a lot at the shop?
a little bit, but we don't serve frozen drinks and things like that. So we stay a little more on the traditional side of things.
Right.
Although we do, have some flavored options.
Right.
Yeah. Our approach is just a little bit different.
Yeah.
And that's probably just like the purist inside of me,
I just wonder when it is, because I remember mine. I remember when I got into coffee. It was whenever I was getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I was working in the strip mines, and you had to be up, and it was just something that you did.
Stanley Thermos.
Yep. Well, I didn't. I first I broke in with about 1, maybe 2 cups a day.
Yeah.
Then it went to the full Stanley Thermos ordeal.
Yeah.
And then I don't even want to talk about it, but then you mixed cigarettes with it, and there was something magical happened.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, I was a full blown smoker.
What a magical elixir it
Right.
is, when you first discover that, and your body's young enough to handle it.
Yeah. And still moving on about your day.
Yeah.
Right.
So go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No,
Yeah.
I love it.
So you remembered your first cup of coffee in college, late night, you said.
Yeah, those late nights.
And so now you're home, right? You're
No, this is still in college,
Okay.
and you have those late nights of studying, and at one point in time when you show up to school in the fall for basketball, you got 3 days.
Oh, yeah.
You got practices at 5:30 a.m. You got noon shoot arounds, and then you got 3 hours of practice at night, and then school.
Yeah.
And so I remember cafeteria coffee, Speedway coffee was right down the street from my dorm room, and coffee at that point in time became kind of like a utilitarian thing that was like, I need this, I need some help,
Yeah.
and it was masked with tons of cream and sugar, and
I started off cream and sugar,
but in college, shortly after I kind of started drinking coffee, I took a trip to Columbus with some friends and met a guy that was a little small batch roaster at the time that after about 15-20 minutes of spending some time with him just rocked my world with this.
What's a small batch roaster? My God, what world have we? What the hell have we gotten into now?
I think
there small batch roasters out there?
I think
is this a cult?
I think that we need a glossary here.
Yeah. Okay.
Small batch roaster, micro brewer.
Okay.
Brewing in the garage, roasting in the kitchen.
Very brewing in the garage level, we'll say.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
I could be a small batch roaster.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
absolutely. Yeah.
Sign me up.
Yeah.
Will you
he,
teach me?
he was actually selling retail, in a store, things
Okay.
like
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
So I would be considered a small batch roaster. What I do,
Even now?
even now, even what I do, I like I said, I roast 12 kilos at a time. That's still kind of considered small batch
Really?
roaster realm. Yeah.
Oh, I would think that
So-
you're like the mecca of coffee.
Hey, one day I'd like to.
After
but-
going to your shop, it's like this guy's the mecca of coffee,
Yeah.
and you're still, that's amazing. So, what would be a non-small batch or
I mean, dude, Folgers. If you go to
Oh.
Folgers, they probably have roasters the size of our entire building.
so you're literally
you know?
comparing a small batch not to even the garage brewer, like just the breweries,
Yeah.
just
Like
micro.
you're talking
Yeah.
like what about like Starbucks, Crimson Cup, stuff like that?
Those are big
Yeah,
batch
Caribou.
brewers. Yeah,
Okay.
those are big guys that are producing a lot of coffee.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. Which we're getting to a point. I roast as a business. We roast about 1,500 pounds a month right now.
Oh, okay.
That we're
Wow.
sending between our shop and what I wholesale. So I wholesale and supply for coffee shops and restaurants all over the country.
Yeah.
And then we ship. We've got a pretty strong online game and. We're shipping to Chicago, to San Francisco, to Dallas.
So I'm going to carry these, right?
Mhm.
I'm going to carry
Yeah.
these in there and
Absolutely.
all these.
Absolutely.
We're going to try these, maybe, right?
Yeah, and this is a seasonal
That's
drink.
a seasonal, yeah.
We've got another seasonal drink that
Speaking of which,
is right around.
Yes.
Yeah,
Might as well try it here.
We've got another seasonal drink called Holiday Cheer, which is basically a peppermint mocha.
Oh yeah,
That
Hey.
is-
Christmas time. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm not a pumpkin spice person. I was kind of scared of that, really, and I thought, but hey, that's pretty good.
that's like liquid pumpkin pie, man.
That
That's
tastes like your
awesome.
grandma's house right
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
That's authentic, man.
That is.
Yeah.
That's what that
Yeah.
tastes like.
awesome.
That tastes like Thanksgiving at grandma's.
Yeah, with a little bit of coffee,
I can't even really taste the coffee that much. Can you?
Yeah, I can
especially
taste
after
coffee.
drinking that.
Yeah, especially
you
after drinking this. But man, that's good.
Yeah. Thank you.
You turned me into a pumpkin spice latte,
I
man,
think.
Trent.
Yep. I just saw
I
some
was
Uggs
just-
pop up on the street down there. Are those Uggs you got, dog?
Yeah,
It was Twisted X.
Yeah.
Manly stuff.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
we'll just
you
hide
know.
that pumpkin spice latte right there.
Yeah.
Boy, this really dark cold brew is really
Right.
delicious.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm already sitting here thinking like this. That cold brew, like you buy that in 6-packs.
Yeah.
I could see myself having one of those a day.
Yeah.
In
It's
the
really good with
afternoon
a
or something.
cigar.
Oh my!
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
you haven't touched your
Yeah,
cigar.
I know. I know.
But,
we gotta get you on there.
we're letting him. We're grilling him, man. He's sitting there in the
I know. I'm
spotlight.
trying to keep up. Trying to keep up.
Well,
So you meet this small batch roaster.
yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, and he just gives me this rundown of, you got to try this coffee black because of, the quality of the coffee that I buy and the way that I roast it. And he's talking on, at this level, I'm like, what are you talking about, man? Like, coffee's coffee. I can smell my grandpa's coffee breath
On
as you're
yours.
telling me this.
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
what I mean?
Yeah.
And he gives us the rundown, and I remember very specifically it was an Ethiopian coffee, and he was like, "You're going to taste blueberry in this coffee," and I'm like, "What in the world?" And he's like, "I didn't add blueberry to this coffee, a flavor or anything like that. You're just going to taste this note, similar to a good wine or a good, a good beer." And he's like, so he brews it for me and let it cool down, let it simmer down for a minute, and I took a sip and. Instantly, I'm like, what did I just try?
Yeah.
Where has this been my whole life? And almost like this feeling of like deception, like, what have I been drinking? What have I been exposed to? And where's this been?
Yeah, because what I've been drinking is not coffee
Exactly.
compared to this. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And that hooked me, that just led me into this pursuit. It wasn't like the business sparked right then, but even the passion.
But like, doesn't it kind of start though with like anything that we pursue in our lives kind of starts like that passion, and that's funny. Like you have a sip of that coffee, and you're like, wow, a light bulb comes on your head. Like I'm going to learn more about this.
Yeah.
You know?
And initially it was as I travel from city to city, visiting friends or wherever. How do I find more of this? Because if I'm going to drink coffee, I can't go back to that stuff that I was drinking. I want to drink this. So
Right.
where do I find more of this? And this was 2003, 2004,
Right.
and it wasn't the modern cafe scene that you can find great shops popping up in Chillicothe and in Jackson
Oh, yeah,
and places
yeah.
in rural
Absolutely.
cities now.
Sure.
And that was not the case,
Yeah.
not too long
Well,
ago.
it seems like almost every small town now has like a coffee shop, or if they're lucky they do, and like a microbrewery or something. Like everywhere, there's all these different types of things to try that's more artisan than what we had 10 or 15 years ago.
Absolutely, yeah.
You're not having to go find like the local wing joint, or you're not going to BW3s or something like that.
Absolutely.
You can go to you can go eat at these different places, or try different
Absolutely.
You're not driving through Starbucks because you see Rōst.
Exactly. Yeah. And probably for the most part, the common denominator in all those stories is, well, I had my first cup of good coffee, or I had my first microbrew that was amazing. That wasn't a Busch Latte.
Yeah.
Right.
And
And I tried to. It's just like the beers. They caught on after a while. I mean, the different styles of beers. That was a long process in learning that. I mean, I'm not even sure that. I mean, now I do, but I mean, for the most part, I mean, it was a long time before I even knew how to even walk in one of those places and know what I wanted.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think we've had that too early on when we first opened up in Chillicothe. We got a lot of feedback like, this is intimidating. I don't know where to start. Or somebody would come in and order like a vanilla cappuccino, which is something that we don't actually serve. And so we had, when we first opened, I worked open to close for 3 straight months, to make sure that every single interaction was done right, because it's easy to walk into a place like that and people come off pretentious or intimidated, as a consumer. Like,
how much training do you have to put into like a barista that you're putting out there to serve your brand?
It's kind of twofold. So I look for happy people that are just naturally happy. That's the hard. That's not the hard part. That's the tricky part. Is I want to find somebody that is coming to work every single day and they just enjoy.
They're looking forward to it.
They're looking forward to it. They're looking forward to making this product as good as it can be and helping someone, whether it's on their daily ritual, daily routine, or someone new walking in for the first time saying, I'm intimidated and I don't know where to start.
Well, I mean, that's kind of the tough thing. Like, I remember, like, when these started popping up, and I specifically remember when I was traveling for work a lot, like in the airports. Yeah, you go up and like even Starbucks or something. Like, I would walk up there and I'm like, what's the closest thing you have to regular coffee?
Yeah, exactly.
I'll take one of the.
Yeah.
But then as you start
coffee?
Then like as you start learning, like, oh man, I kind of like that medium roast as opposed to, or I like the blonde. Or
absolutely,
there's different types. Once you try them, you start expanding your palate a little bit.
Yeah, and so there's always been this layer of education that we have to have, and like I said, kind of going back to the baristas or the staff. I've tried to find people who understand what our overall mission is, and they're happy. And then if they have those things, if they like coffee, if they're happy and they get our mission, I can teach anybody coffee. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I feel like we've that's the hardest part, man. I don't care how good your product is if your people suck.
Oh yeah.
Nobody's coming.
You deal with that in anything.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all business.
Yep.
You're as good as your people.
And I'm dragging you forward there, man. I want to go back to the origin there with the blueberry notes and the thing. So like you go home, you're like, all right, I got to find this coffee. I got to start finding this. So you start becoming a connoisseur. You're out trying all different coffees.
It was kind of the connoisseur of coffee shop hopping, I would say, at that time. It's, every time I came back to Columbus, or if I was in Cleveland or Nashville, it's like, man, where can I find a shop like this and replicate that experience, buy some bags to take back? And, at the time, it was very few and far between, too. So I quickly realized a good friend of mine and a roommate at the time, we both kind of had that same experience that night, and both kind of started diving deep into this coffee world at the same time. And we started buying home equipment, and it turned into, home espresso machines. And then that turned into home roasting. And, and then that's when I would say, like, when the home roasting side of things really clicked for me, because it got ugly real fast. And by that, I mean, like, I started home roasting and realized how easy it is to burn coffee.
Oh, okay.
Like,
so you can ruin a batch of it real quick.
Absolutely. And I'm like, okay, there's a lot more that goes into this than I even realized. Like, this is, I was really good at burning coffee,
Okay.
which is why you go to a lot of places and you just get burnt coffee. You get really, really dark coffee,
Yeah.
Especially if it sits there on that burner all day.
Yeah.
I mean, you're as good as however when the last cup was taken out of it, I guess, to swirl. I mean, as I know at home, it doesn't take me long, especially whenever there's not very much coffee left in there. It doesn't take long, and you start and there's nothing. Oh, that's just a soury, just nasty.
Yeah. And so in this side of things, in the roasting side of the world, I kind of equate that to steak. You know how you're kind of equating cigars to coffee.
Right.
I ask people, like, how do you like your steak? And most people, if I gave you a steak right now and you threw it on the grill and you just burn it all the way through, there's some people that might like that char, and
well done.
well done, but
to me,
ruining a steak.
Yeah, and I kind of equate that to the dark roasting world. You know what I mean? But if you start learning more about the meat, you start learning more about your grill, and you start kind of creating a medium, or even like a medium rare, there's different flavor profiles that pop out on that steak and creates different experiences when you eat it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Same thing with coffee. And it's real easy to burn those natural elements out, which kind of goes back to how I profile each coffee. Each coffee kind of has their own notes to it. So this Brazil, for instance, I've got tasting notes of chocolate, molasses, and sweet cream. So I'm not putting that stuff in it, but if I roast it to the specific time and temperature, you will taste those after notes inside of that black coffee as you drink.
Do you know that? Like, okay, so you have that. That's your description.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And a lot of that is subjective, obviously, because
that's what I was wondering. How do you get that description? Is there a gauge you can say, or is there that's non-palate related? I'm talking like a number, like a physical gauge that you can say, okay, here's what's popping off in this. It's this. And this.
Not necessarily, I guess the answer would be no, but that's where the art form of coffee comes into play. So there's a very scientific world and there's a very artful world to coffee, you know, and so the flavor profiles is definitely where kind of the art form comes out for me.
I would imagine that it takes hours and hours of tweaking and batches that you're like, that's not good. This is,
absolutely. And my wife can tell you story after story after story.
You'd have to be a freak though, just to even taste the differences.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, I can taste that stuff, but if you had told me.
You'd have to really refine your own,
your palate.
That's what I mean. It had to be hours and years of of doing this to get to where you are now.
Yeah, and that's what I tell people, like, to get to where I've gotten, and I'm not speaking like I've arrived, because there's definitely areas where I want to get better, and but I burn a lot of coffee. I ruined a lot of coffee to kind of get to where I felt confident of, I can start a business and do well with this. And
so, like, did you do this at home for a while?
Oh,
like
yeah. I definitely home roasted is kind of a term, just like a home brewer.
Did you start off then brewing at home for like a vending route?
Initially, as I started home roasting, family and friends would be like, "Oh, I want some of that coffee, Trent," and then I would package it for them, and then their friends would be like, "Hey, doesn't your brother roast coffee? Can I try and get some of that?"
Yeah.
And that kind of how it started fingering out, and branching out, and kind of simultaneously, like I said, I was kind of in the construction world for a little bit too, but we just got to a point to where, after being in a couple of different business ventures with some friends, being in the construction world, in 2013, like I said, we made that jump, and I'm like, I think we've got the pieces to the puzzle, the know-how, and the resources. We can make this work.
Yeah, and it's working.
Yeah, it's working.
It's working.
7 years in.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
you very much.
That's awesome, man. It amazes me, in 2020 how things just economics and what do I want to say? Retail has changed. At one time, who would have thought you would be ordering your clothes online and your coffee in a brick and mortar coffee shop.
I think
you know?
almost any retail business kind of has to have that leg of the stool, man. It seems like anymore, you know.
Yeah,
like if you're selling a product, and you obviously have an online presence with your coffee, do you guys is that a big portion of your business? Or
it's growing. It's been something that has kind of just been there for me, you know, because initially it was, you know, focused on growing the wholesale, you know, so we didn't have a big brand awareness, you know, because we didn't have a shop per se. Initially, I was going into stores. I mean, I literally landed my very first account by going in, meeting the guy and saying, hey, I think I have better coffee than you're carrying right now. I'm going to give you free coffee for a weekend to supply for your customers. If they like it, let's talk. That's literally it. And he calls me after the weekend and he said, hey, everybody love this stuff. I'll buy 50% of my coffee from you and 50% from my other guy. And after about 3 months, he was 100%.
Other guy's gone.
Other guy's gone, you know? And you know, and I'm not saying that arrogantly. I'm just saying, like, I've tried to work super, super hard to where my product sells itself, you know?
Well, and I mean, and that's the thing. Like, it sounds to me like what really goes into it were the hours of the trial and error. Now you've kind of got it dialed in. You know how long you have to roast it to put it in that bag. Yeah. And you know what kind of flavor profile you're going to get every time, and it's consistent. Yep. And I mean, that to me seems like it would be I mean, once you get that figured out, I mean.
Have you noticed, I know this is big in the beer world, like that brown bottle right there. You know why a bottle's brown? Yeah, is basically to keep the sunlight out of it. Yep. Yep. Does that affect like this packaging? Have you noticed if that affects anything?
There are studies that suggest that the packaging is important to not let those ultraviolet rays kind of get to the bean itself. I don't know that it is as important to the liquid part. I've never gotten that scientific into it. I like the classic look of that amber bottle, you know, so that's kind of why I went with that.
Yeah,
so.
And it's cold, so I mean, I would say most of your morning coffee is hot.
Absolutely, yeah.
And where, you know, you could drink this in the afternoon. It's not going to be as awkward. I mean, doing this at 8 a.m. with a bottle would seem kind of
driving to work and somebody drives by.
I kind of like it.
Yeah, he'd probably just settle right into that.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool though. I mean, because you would have to kind of feel like you're in on the infant stages of that whole. You're in the I mean, not that there hasn't always been coffee shop, but I'm saying it seems like it's going in the same direction as beer, with like crafted beer.
Absolutely.
So you'd have to feel like you're kind of in the infant stages. Nobody knows how far it's going to run, but you know, how big does this coffee thing get? You know, in 20 years, is it the hottest thing ever, or is it just kind of what it is now? You know, nobody knows. But you'd have to feel like you're at the ground stages of that.
I think so too, and I think where we're at is people are driving for quality. You know what I mean? Sure. It's not just that, oh, hey, I know my friend Trent that roasts coffee, I'm going to buy his coffee, but it's that this is driving the quality of that industry.
Absolutely. And I would imagine that, you know, as you get better, your competition's getting better too.
Absolutely.
Everybody, and your customers are getting a little more educated. They're getting a little more educated. Yep. And they're like, wow, man, they're picking up on the notes. Whereas, you know, 10, 15 years ago, just like us, we were just saying, you know, where did you have your first good cup of coffee? I mean, heck, we'd been slinging coffee from Speedway and McDonald's. Yeah. No disrespect, but it's not the same.
Well, one of the last episodes, I don't remember which one it was, but you guys got on a little coffee tangent talking about just the benefit of understanding grinding fresh.
Well,
right before you brew.
That was exactly my next question.
Yeah.
Do you sell pre-ground coffee?
I don't.
And now I'm sure there's a reason for that.
Absolutely, yeah.
And go.
Yeah. So I mean, what I try to tell customers is when they ask me that, like, can we get this ground? And here's the deal: I'll do it. Like if you come in tomorrow and you're like, I don't have a grinder, but I love your coffee. Can you grind it for me? Yeah. I'm going to grind your coffee.
Yeah, right.
But I want to get people to a point to where they can replicate what they experience in my store, and they understand why they're experiencing what that is. And part of that is you know, I tell people, like, if you're popping popcorn, you're not going to pop 6 months worth of popcorn and store it in your pantry.
Yeah.
Why would you do that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not going to be fresh. It's stale.
Right.
Close the deal right there, did they?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, that was a good one.
That was slick. You're not going to be the 6 months worth of popcorn. You bunch of stale pricks.
Yeah.
But so coffee's the same thing. Once it's roasted, it kind of has a life cycle. And
Yeah, you explained that to me Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I tell everybody that window of like peak freshness where you really are going to experience what I kind of list out there in those tasting notes. That peak window is about day 2 to 3 off of roast, and about 12 days after roast. Okay. So you've got that, 8, 9, 10 day window that you want to drink this in, to where if you drink it then at home yourself, you're going to be experiencing very similar to what you're experiencing in my store. Okay. And so that's why we sell it in smaller bags versus big, massive bags too. It's to keep people coming back in and buying something fresh. Which matters in the morning.
Sure it does. Well, like we were on that very show. We were talking.
This was with Nate, wasn't it?
Yeah, Steinbrook. We were talking about.
You know Nate?
I don't know.
You don't? He's chill coffee guy.
Yeah, but we were talking about. He and I both use the pour over at home, and Pudge was kind of making fun of us.
I was not making fun of you, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah. But
what is it? Explain this to me.
Well, you need to jump on my YouTube channel and watch.
She'll show you
how to brew a pour over. It's literally an episode we just did.
You just did. All right.
We'll have to check that out.
Shameless plug.
Was this?
Because the fact is, I'm probably doing it wrong. I mean,
was that a roast ritual?
It was. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, go ahead with the pour over.
I mean, so like. What would be the correct way? Because right now I am buying mine ground. Okay, but like, so I get a little grinder. I broke the last one I had. Probably put too much in. I break things. I'm bad about that. But like, would you just grind like 1 cup at a time?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
okay.
Yep. That's how you do it, man. I mean,
what if you're drinking a Stanley?
A whole Stanley thermos? Well, you couldn't do that in a pour over.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have a Chemex at home, or we could brew a Chemex is basically a 6-cup version of a pour over. So you can do a 1 cup at a time, or you can do 6 cups at a time, fill up your Stanley, and keep it hot all day long for sure.
How many ounces is a cup?
I mean, technically, or what we do.
Oh yeah, exactly.
I mean, 8 ounces is a cup, right?
Is that, is that what it is?
Yeah. But our cup or our mugs at the shop are 10 ounces.
I think the Stanley's 38 ounces.
Yeah,
I think
it's a big gulp.
Yeah, it'll fill up my Yeti time and then a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do that in the morning too because I have kids. You know what I mean? So I actually have a 12-ounce tumbler, and I'll brew. And I'll pour it straight into that tumbler because I know if I put it in that mug, within 10 minutes, I'm chasing a kid around the house and it's getting cold.
So what are your secrets, man? How do you enjoy coffee at home? Okay, from the master brewer, what are you doing at home?
Yeah.
Like, do you have a Mr. Coffee sitting there in the corner, or like what do you do?
I do. Actually, and that's for when the in-laws come and take our kids for us for the weekend or something like that. And we gotta keep things simple for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Push this button and put this coffee in. So I actually do have a little Mr. Coffee pot at home.
We were talking about getting one here. Now I don't know if I need to get like a whole. My Lord, I can just see
deal.
a whole wall.
Yeah. Tell us what we need to do.
Here's the deal. You can. I tell everybody, to each is his own. If you enjoy brewing coffee in a Mr. Coffee, do it. Keep doing it. You know.
You do.
But the product. You can put bad coffee in that, or you can put good coffee in it. You know.
Yeah. If you're going to drink coffee, drink good coffee.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Tell me about these like I recently we were not vendors, but this guy was a vendor at a local race that we went and served beer at. What? And he had a brand of coffee. I really liked it. It wasn't. I'm a Folgers guy, or was, I guess. And I noticed that with the Folgers, I have fought kind of like a heartburn. Now, I haven't so much since I've lost this weight, but before, I could look at a glass of water and get the heartburn. Yeah. Well, I've noted, and I drink a lot of coffee. Like I'm probably drinking 64 ounce. How big is the big Yeti or Ozark?
I think those
Chad's proud of his burn. Look at him.
Those are at least
32. Or at least 24. At least 24.
I would say 24.
Okay, so I'm drinking at least 48 ounces of coffee a day.
Yeah.
I usually drink that twice. That's a lot, isn't it? That's a lot of coffee. Is that too much?
It depends on how you're brewing it, you know.
Well, I'm talking Folgers.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Because something we can get into down the road here in a minute, but if you're drinking dark roast coffee actually has less caffeine content.
Okay.
And if your ratio is watery, you're drinking more
water.
It's not as strong as it can be.
Yeah, it's
is what I'm
not,
saying.
and I don't brew. I do brew it pretty strong, but not
Yeah.
strong enough to taste, but
Yeah.
not kill you.
So volume wise, you might be drinking a lot, but caffeine, content wise, it
Might
might not
not.
be a ton.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. So
there's room for more.
So whenever I got that guy's coffee there, I thought it was delicious stuff. It was at Berserker Brew. I had it on the show one time, and he had an athletic said I'd have to read the thing, but like it was brewed for athletes.
Okay.
Like what step would that have been? And I know you'd have to probably just. I don't know if you've even seen that guy before or not. But.
No. I would say, the biggest thing that you're going to be dealing with is obviously the acidity of that coffee.
Yeah.
And one thing that makes coffee...
His was really smooth, didn't give me... It wasn't sour at all. It was like... That's probably when I had my first, cup of coffee that I noticed did not, sour me from the throat down,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, wow, that is really nice.
It was probably a lighter roast coffee, which is...
Could have been.
Yeah, so the darker you roast coffee... each coffee bean has a moisture content in it, and so just like steak, when you start with a raw steak, it's super juicy, real moist. The more you cook that over the fire, the more it starts to dry out, essentially.
Right.
Same thing with the coffee bean. The more you roast it, the drier it gets, and the goal is to not burn it. If you take it to that dark roast level, you're just burning coffee at that point, which again, I tell people, if you like dark roast coffee, it's to each his own, burn it. Yeah, drink it, but you're extracting that moisture content inside of that bean, and it's that heat is pulling it to the outside, and that heat is zapping that flavor, and then that's what makes that coffee acidic.
Okay.
And so when you're drinking that coffee, that a lot of times that's kind of what causes the acid reflux or the heartburn and things like that. So if you're drinking a little bit of a lighter coffee, it will probably eliminate that. And actually, this cold brew, it's a light roast coffee and it's brewed cold, so there's next to no acidity in this cold brew, which is why a lot of people I think have been turned on to cold brew too.
Yeah, and I tried the Black Rifle. I tried that. I ordered some of that. It was both of those coffees I thought were really good, and that's what intrigued me about talking to you. I was like, okay, well, this guy's pretty local, to an extent. I was like, I can get with him. But man, it was just night and day difference. As far as once I got into the craftier coffees, and it was like, oh wow, now I get a little fresher. Going back to you don't pop your popcorn for 6 months.
Yeah,
and it shows.
Yeah.
You really can taste the difference. Now this stuff, this is just good.
Now I want to know about this guy's home popcorn popper. How are you brewing coffee? For your in-laws, we know you got the Mr. Coffee.
right.
Now, what are you doing in the morning at your house?
Just a simple pour over.
You do the pour over?
Simple pour over. Yep.
Okay.
And my wife does a pour over in the morning, and actually my 7-year-old's doing pour overs.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So is that the one that it looks?
He's not drinking it. He's making it for us though.
Is that it's a cylinder, and then you set the
Several
coffee
different-
down in here like a percolator?
The one I have is, it's not anything fancy. It's got a round bottom. It comes up to a neck, and then it has a filter that
Sits
sits on
down
the
in there.
top.
Yeah.
and you just pour it.
And you pour the hot water over it.
Oh, so that wouldn't take that long. How long does it take you to make a cup?
Not that long. 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Less.
Yeah.
From start to finish.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Now, if I had to add the step of grinding, which I'm going to now,
Okay.
I think.
Yeah.
This is a Chemex, but that's basically a pour over. So pour over is kind of referencing a manual.
Yeah.
Pouring
My God, is that your
over.
kitchen?
No.
I was gonna say.
No.
Oh Lord,
Look,
you're
can
a
I see that
nice
one, Matt?
picture.
Yeah.
Now this is a high end one though, right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a Chemex, which is it almost looks like a science experiment,
Yeah. Well,
but they
mine
make
is-
separate ones where you can just put that V60 unit, that cone right straight on your mug.
Yeah. Well,
Kinda
I've not had that. I've got one that's
can
like
almost
this,
feel
but it's like the Walmart version.
Okay. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's got the black rubber thing.
Yeah.
It's very functional, but
Absolutely.
I think what takes the longest is I like to boil the water in a tea kettle or something like that. So that probably takes longer than anything else.
Yeah.
So what? Can you just microwave the water if you
Well,
want?
sure
to?
you could. Yeah, if I'm in a
Do
hurry.
you ever cheat and do that?
Well, see, what I'll do sometimes.
Oh my gosh, you guys!
I got a pretty quick.
Are you
you
saying
get up?
you're against the
have time.
the microwaving?
No, not at all. If that's what you got,
Because sometimes I'll do it one cup at a time, where I'll just take the cup I'm going to drink out of, take
Fill it
that
up with
amount,
water.
fill it up with water, heat it up, then pour it over.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. I've got a kettle that's pretty fast, and it'll boil enough water. I'll start that, And by the time I prep my coffee, I grind it, I get the pour over ready. My water's done, and I can brew 2 cups for me and my wife, in 2 minutes, 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So.
There is
Or just
an
tell
obvious
my 7-year-old to do it.
Well, yeah. There's an
I got a 7-year-old. I gotta get him trained.
obvious difference in the taste, though, man. Seriously, I think if you tried it, you
I've never had one.
Yeah.
it is big difference.
Huh.
Yeah.
The way I discovered it was one time, like I said, when I was traveling all the time, I started ordering at Starbucks. I'd get what is their blonde roast called, Veranda or something like that. I liked it the best, so I'd always be like, I'll have a Veranda. They're like, well, we don't have any now, but we can do a pour over.
Yep.
And I was kind of like, well, what the hell is that? Yeah, okay, do a pour over. And I'm watching them back there, and I was like, okay,
Yep.
all right, I can do this.
Yeah.
And then I didn't realize how easy those things were to find.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah,
I've
and
learned a
it's
lot.
little steps like that just kind of start changing your palate, and you're like, that was good. I kind of want more.
Jordan,
of that.
he was telling me about that. Jordan Lombardo, he's a big coffee guy.
oh yeah, well, he's a barista.
Yeah,
at,
so he at
Spot.
the Spot. Yeah, and he was telling me one day that he was going to some convention and talk about, and I was like, my God, this is a whole nother world.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It really is.
And I'd say it's even bigger some places like England and France and some of those places. I mean, that would be. I mean, isn't this kind of it's been going on over there?
Sure. Yeah. Honestly, one of the I would say, Italy obviously is kind of where the inspiration of the modern cafe scene has come from. But nowadays, the kind of leaders or innovators in terms of really driving progressive brewing methods of coffee and coffee in general is Japan.
Really?
Yeah. It's
really interesting.
Yeah.
In Asia, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
what else is going on, man? You got the coffee shop, and so you're doing the lunch and dinner. They just came out tonight with another announcement from Governor DeWine.
yeah,
Gird your loins. Yeah.
I chose to ignore it on my way down. Just
Didn't
coming
wanna
down
ruin
to
your
have
day.
a good time. Yeah.
Well,
coming down. To have a good
I
time.
was getting messages there that you guys probably saw me getting them, and I had to check them. It's just, I guess we're shooting down pool tables. I think, I don't know. Before I comment on it, I probably better make sure I get a chance to fully read them. But it looks like they're putting a stop to a few things right now, and they said they were gonna. I did see that he was going to give another announcement in a week.
Okay.
And they were looking at people to start enforcing, which you and I can talk about. They're going to start enforcing the masks. Is what I did see enough to see that. Are they wearing? I mean, we are wearing masks. I'm sure you are too.
Yeah.
I don't know that you're going to be able to stop or make people. I shouldn't say stop. I mean, do you honestly feel like you're going to be able to make people wear them?
I feel like he's setting people up for failure.
I do too.
Because when you start turning a business owner into the police,
You're right.
It's just it almost seems like there's going to be some no-win
That's
situations.
a tough one, man. That is a tough one.
I don't understand why it always comes down to bars and restaurants, but never comes down to Walmart. So
the tough spot that it puts you in is your whole objective in driving a business is having people walk in your door.
Yeah.
And now they want to put you in a place where you're telling those people, not you, dude.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I think the vast majority of people probably will have a mask on. They'll come in, they'll get their coffee, they'll get their food. I mean, were you guys able to do takeout only or anything like that
during the
we were
initial
shut down
phase?
there?
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, we were doing takeout only, and we managed to pivot and adjust, and we started a delivery service, and we definitely felt the effects early on of oh my,
everybody. But do you feel like you guys negotiated it pretty decent? Did your consumers stay with you?
They did, and honestly, I feel like it was an opportunity that really grew kind of our market share. To be honest,
there you go.
We gained a lot of new customers through that were grateful that we were offering delivery and or just tried us out in general because we offered delivery. We gained a lot of new people, a lot of new.
I noticed it was
customers.
it was tough in the beginning. As soon as I don't know what it was, but whenever they let us, we completely shut down. Okay. So we didn't offer the takeout service, but we wanted to. I was in one of those situations where whenever I got there, I was kind of playing catch up. and I never really got a chance to sit down and just kind of rework things in my head. And I mean, you do, but you don't. Whenever you get thrown into something, or not thrown in, that's a horrible word, but whenever you jump into something that's already moving, a lot of times, you're more of the figure it out and also keep it the same. Man,
that was absolutely delicious.
I'm afraid if I drink it, I may not sleep till Friday.
Yeah.
Well, I've drank all three of the offerings.
Well, it's still early, Tyler. Yeah, but like I said, it wasn't I never got a chance to just say, okay, stop, let's clear everything.
Yeah.
Because you're all the time trying to use what you have and make it, different or better, and then, that way it doesn't kill you all of a sudden, and you're trying. It's just a weird thing. So what COVID did allow was the complete shutdown for me to just say, okay, here, let's try it this way, and that it's been working out great to our benefit. I mean, we've picked up. I mean, our business is booming now. I mean, it's doing well. But then you get like tonight, and then you get these messages, and you're like, man. I mean, it just takes the wind right out of your sail. I mean, I don't know. And I don't know. We'll adjust. It ain't the end of the world.
Yeah, and
I'll
I think
tomorrow.
That's the main point. Is you just gotta adjust. You gotta be willing to adjust, and so many people I feel like
it's like a 10-round boxing match, isn't it?
20 round.
Well, I think it makes
match.
it tough for everybody to think about having to stop the boat again.
Yeah.
You're like, oh.
Well, especially going into holiday season, which is a peak season for most industries.
Yes.
You're getting ready to you're almost in Black Death right now as far as the time of year. I mean, it's dark at 5.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's like, oh my goodness, what are we going to do if we get shut? I mean, can you imagine they shut you? I mean, I know you're big into the gym. What if they shut down gyms?
Yeah, I know. It's unfortunate, obviously with, mutual friend of ours, and there's just
Jason
a lot.
Prater,
Yeah.
shout out,
Yeah.
AP Prep.
Yeah, which he's got to be on deck, man.
Oh, he's
got to be on deck.
Well, there's something valuable that has to happen. He has to not send these automated replies. Whenever I send him a text and say, "Hey, you gonna be on here tonight?" and I'll get right now. Jason's busy right now. I'm like, "Would you have one of your peasants text me back?" Who's operating your phone right now?
Yeah.
I don't.
He's been. I would have to put him in the category. He's been big legging us, bud.
Oh yeah. He's been big. Well, I see now
a lot of red line phone calls.
Well,
I mean,
and now I figured it out why. He sided up with the enemy, old Scott Massey.
Yeah. Well, hey, that battle's over.
Well, I don't know that
round 2.
Yeah. I texted him today and I said, "Hey, fat ass, you gained any weight back?"
Yeah.
And he said, "I'm back up to 224." So that means he's put on the 7 pounds that Prater made him lose the day to beat me.
Well, we got to get, but Prater, it's time, brother. I mean, let's get on the show.
We got to get on the show.
Got to
get those guys on there.
Yeah, and his story's cool.
Yeah, it is.
Being having obviously roots to Jackson and everything, and
oh man, yeah,
his story's cool.
Jason's story's real cool. And you know what, I've said this about Prater, many times. He is true, and you are too. It's not a shocker you guys have become great friends because you both seem to be doing exactly what you love.
Yeah.
And Jason has always had he's always carried around a special spot for that fitness lifestyle. He's always been in shape, always been and he's always been how hyper he is. I mean, he's always been that way.
Yeah.
And it's great to watch him because man, he's hit a vein with that. And I mean, just and what I like about what Jason does is he's getting. And I think you're a testament to this, and Scott Massey is. But I mean, Jason gets his name is exactly what he's portraying. I mean, athlete performance. I mean, and he's getting a lot of performance out of these guys. He's like I think we talked
he's
about
driving results, man.
I mean, and he's got measurable.
No,
he really does have measurable results, and I mean, he's getting. It's we talked about it here not too long ago. That those type of things, and you're a dad, and we talk about this all the time. But he's it's not like if you send your kid to him that doesn't mean your kid's going to get a D1 scholarship.
Right.
Okay. However, that means that he is going to have a lot of the basics.
Yeah.
Well, he's going to be a lot better within his capacity.
Yes.
He will be the best that he can be.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I don't.
Or she.
Yeah, she. What? I mean, you can't. There is no magic pill that makes a kid a D1 athlete. I mean,
No.
you're not going to be a lineman and go to school for free in the Big Ten.
If you're 5'2".
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, there are just certain metrics that
They're
going
looking
to cover that, and genetics are going to take care of a lot of that. But if you've got the right genetics, or even if you don't, he'll work within whatever genetics you have, and you will be the best you can possibly be.
Sure.
And
Absolutely.
that's the way I think you gauge it.
I went to his boxing class. Do you do that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
My
Well,
wife.
that must have been before. When did you hook up with him?
It's probably been 2-3 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We
I
met
did the
early
morning
on.
class.
I did for a little bit. Then I started there for a while. I was going in the evenings. My wife is in the morning classes right now, and I'm home taking care of the babies, getting them ready for school. But she's hooked in that. My wife's a nutritionist, and
Okay.
she's actually just finishing up right now to become a personal trainer, and she's into all that, and she's always busting my chops.
Okay.
Like, you need to get back in Jason's gym. She's like, I can't do my job right if you don't look the part too, Trent. And I'm like, I don't
This is
want
a good thing my wife did give me a nutritionist.
Oh my God, that would kill me.
Oh my Lord!
I mean, hey man, shape it up.
I know,
My
right?
God, yeah.
You fat ass.
Hey, I mean, I'm trying to train people. This is a brand. You can't be walking around looking sloppy. Come on.
exactly, man. That's what it is. That's what.
But what I noticed, I was telling somebody this the other day. We were talking about just the whole Massey journey and everything he did, and I said, Prater's gym is unlike any gym I've went to, and I've been a member of probably 3 or 4 gyms in my life. Squirrel bladder,
Yeah,
You're
squirrel
not even
bladder break.
drinking. Man,
It's all this coffee. My God, I drank 3 bottles of coffee.
Oh my Lord!
I mean, normally we can blame the whiskey or
Yeah.
I mean,
Can't
my
tonight.
goodness, no.
No.
Of course, coffee. I mean,
Yeah, coffee will go through you too.
That's a diuretic, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Dr. Reynolds moment there.
Thermogenics or something.
But his gym is unlike anything I've ever been to in the fact that you don't go in there and shoot the breeze.
No.
Like and I mean, I can't even describe. This is the best way I can describe it. Whenever you walk in that door, from that very moment you touch the door handle, the setup is work.
Yeah.
Like not, and I don't mean that like the setup is work. Like you're there to do a job and you're there to get results. From the minute you grab the door handle, there's no, hey, we're going to sit around here and talk. Hey, what do you do? There's no. I mean, he's got that front desk there, and then boom, you're right in there, and you better get loose because you got to. Whenever that bell goes off,
If you don't come with those intentions, that's not the gym for you.
that's not the gym for you.
Yeah.
Nope. And man, I loved it. It was harder for me to get over there in the mornings. I would love to get it back. I would love to schedule time to get over there some.
Yeah.
Because it
it
was
produces.
Great. It produces results.
It
yeah.
produces.
I was probably that was the most intense thing I had done in a long time. And I always talk about that guy, that Thornsberry guy. Man, he was my partner. That guy's intense. My Lord, I was like, oh God, this is the first day.
Yeah.
This guy over here, he's Rocky Balboa. Oh man,
You ended up hitting him instead of the punching
No,
bag.
no, it was good. He was pushing me, and it was like
he does it.
It was great because he was, it was like, man, you don't know how that's going to go. I'm over there in foreign country,
Right.
I didn't know anybody.
Right.
Here comes this, fat guy named Pudge, and breathing all heavy and about to die. And Thornsberry, he was great. He was a great guy to partner up with. But,
yeah.
They were very serious, and that was the first time I'd got to experience what Prater had built over there.
Yeah.
And I just remember just walking out there like, my God, what an experience! Like that was amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, and you don't see that often in Southern Ohio. Like it's great that we have that option here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just wonderful because that's something that concept's fairly new.
It's fairly new, yeah, but the way he runs it is even different from other places you might find like it, which is why I think he's been successful. He doesn't have a sign on this building.
I never found it.
Yeah.
And I said, what, dude, you got to get a sign. He said, I don't want no dipshit stopping by. He said, if you want to find it, you'll find it. And I thought, God, that's confidence from hell. I thought,
Right.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
That's Prater though. That's
Yeah.
Prater.
And when you can be there for 3+ years in that location, I mean, he's been doing it longer than that, but when you can be there for 3+ years in a brand new building and work.
Yeah.
And it works.
Yeah.
With no sign and no branding and nothing. It's like, okay.
Well, I mean, it's fair to say it's not going anywhere now. I mean,
No.
and that's the way you are with Rōst. I mean, 7 years, dude. I mean,
Hey.
that's a big milestone.
I appreciate it.
A lot of
a lot of coffee.
A lot of coffee. In entrepreneurship, I mean, hey man, you get past 2 years, you've done a heck of a job. I mean,
Yeah.
And Chillicothe, that area that you're in over there, It's very cool. It's we saw.
Yeah, I hadn't been over there in a minute.
Yeah.
I mean, downtown, and we went over to
The poorhouse.
the poorhouse machinery hall there for like a little dinner that Nate Steinbrook put on.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, man, that was great.
Yeah.
I mean, it was nice.
It was nice. It kind of reminded
nice.
me of like how Charleston Huntington used to be downtown,
Oh, yeah.
and
Yep.
what was that little area in Huntington?
Putnam Square.
Putnam Square. Yeah,
Yep.
kind of reminds you of that.
Yep.
Kind of nice, just kind of had nice lighting. Just everything was nice about it.
Yeah, it really was.
It looked cool. And I mean, your shop's kind of kind of the staple there, really. I mean, you got the Majestic right down the street, which is an icon there. But then you're kind of like that new spot, and it was a cool layout. It was like, oh, this is all making sense. you know?
Yeah.
And that's what I say, Chillicothe, that area seems to really be doing well. And I mean, a lot of times we travel over there, and you don't really get off Bridge Street.
Right.
And
Well, for a long time, you hadn't really had a reason.
yeah.
Well,
I used to go to the dock a good bit.
Yeah,
I like going down there.
There's some staples that had kind of kept an anchor there in downtown for a long time.
How did you guys settle on your location there?
So our original location was back down in an older building on 2nd Street,
Okay.
near 2nd and Paint, right, kind of in the heart of
Right.
that area.
Right, yes.
And so when we initially opened up there in 2016 was when we opened up that location, and the Fort where we're at now, the Fort Collective, is a whole nother business model that I'd kind of been brewing, no pun intended.
grinding. You mean grinding?
Yeah.
Man, he's grinding, he's brewing.
I know, right? But it's something that had kind of been, marinating for a long time, of just this, collective space of businesses that really fostered entrepreneurship, that fostered community, that didn't compete, but they complemented, that could just really drive a lot that could,
It really puts an anchor down.
Yeah.
Down there. I mean, you can park your car and kind of walk around that area and hit 3-4 different businesses. And
Yeah. So I'd been, kind of.
You all right, bud?
allergies.
Allergies.
Yeah. Hey, I just got tested, guys. I'm.
You see that COVID juice just flying out there, boy? Coughing up that COVID juice.
I mean, I guess maybe. Who knows? I don't
Now,
think so.
not to
If it is, I'm sorry.
No, not to change the subject, but so you were an arena football kicker.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! Now you got to rewind this for us. We got to hear the whole. I got to hear the whole thing.
Yeah, Prater told me this. So so where did you play at?
The team I played for was Marion Blue Racers.
Okay.
So Marion, Ohio. Man, so I played football, basketball, baseball, kind of everything growing up, and basketball was my first love, which is why I went and played basketball. After school, though, I had 2 younger brothers. My youngest brother was playing football, and I kind of went back to coach him, and he played everything. He played all different positions, but he was a kicker as well, like me. And so I worked with him, and he ended up started varsity freshman all the way through his senior year and doing really well. And during that time, I would work out with him, and I just kind of started getting the itch back again for football. And I'm like, man, I want to do this again. I was training my brother all the time. I was still in good shape and young, and I heard of an outdoor league in Columbus, a semi-pro outdoor league, and went and tried out for a team and made it. And I did that for a couple seasons, did really well, and an indoor professional Arena 2 team, Marion Blue Racers, started up, and they started kind of pulling from all of these semi-pro teams down in Columbus, and I got a tryout and made it.
That's awesome.
But I played other positions in football as well in high school, and I'm a football player that has the ability to kick well.
Okay.
I grew up playing soccer too, so it's just I did everything,
Yeah.
But
now you're into mountain biking.
Now I'm into mountain biking. Yeah. Just anything to keep
that's
me
how
active.
him and Prater was down last Friday. That's whenever I met him was last week, and they had to come down and gloat.
Oh yeah, of course.
I'm still chapped about that. Oh man,
Let it burn in you.
I know.
Let it burn in you, man.
Well, it's kept me from eating since. I think I haven't indulged real heavy since, but I'm going to.
Yeah, I would say the real winner is the one that lives the lifestyle out, right?
Well, what I would do is maybe start a recoup bet where it's not on this, but like you come back, like say
6 months from now.
Well, no, I would throw the holidays in there. Like, okay, man, we're getting back together on Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
let's
I've
see where
tried.
they are.
And
He's done. Now, he was very clear about it.
I
at
told
the
him
stockroom the
I
other
said,
night.
hey, let's not do these abrupt challenges.
Yeah.
Let's just keep it going. And, every 8 months, if either one of us has put on more than 5%,
Yeah. Let's go. Yeah.
we fire back up with the donation.
Yeah. And boy, he was a hard no on that.
He
I
was.
heard about it. Yeah. He was.
Did you ever see him ever working out in their incognito sessions?
I saw some posts, which
Oh.
you must have been hidden from because I
Oh, the plot thickens.
Oh, I mean, yeah, they were
throwing Jason under
I mean,
the bus
they were
now.
they were just conspiring against you.
Oh, yeah. Prater texted me the day of and said, but I haven't seen him in a month. Just lying. He was
Liars.
sitting right next to him.
Liars.
Liars.
Here's
We need to.
here's
chop
what he
this
sent
up.
me.
Oh, look at that, Reynolds.
Let me see it.
Look at that.
Oh my! Look at him, that hood on. I told you, Rocky and Mick.
Oh, still bad about it. Still just bad tore up about this.
Yeah.
So how did you meet the Ondera boys then?
Donuts.
Donuts.
Interesting.
Donuts, yeah.
Donuts.
Yeah. So when we opened up our first location in Chillicothe, we were just coffee. It was very minimal. I was working with a local baker that was supplying for us and stuff like that, but we were just serving coffee. And I caught wind of 4 Mile. And I was like, hey, somebody told me, like, hey, there's this Amish bakery that has these donuts called Wagon Wheels.
Yeah.
Like, these would be awesome in here. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I got to find them. So the friend that told me about them connected me with Kyle. And Kyle at the time was kind of bootlegging donuts from 4 Mile. From 4 Mile all the way up to Columbus on Saturdays to this shop up in Columbus.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, I'm on the way to Columbus. Like, I want some donuts. I want in on this route. And,
Yeah.
I reached out to him, and he stopped by the shop one day, and as we started talking about coffee, talking about donuts, and it was like that scene from Step Brothers. Like, did we just become best friends?
Yeah.
You know? And I mean, just he's just become. That was 4 years ago. And, quickly, I would tell anybody that he's one of my closest friends. The Ondera family, and they're just loyal people, very, very full character people, and so. We hit it off naturally as friends, but then he was bootlegging donuts from 4 Mile for me, and I mean,
Wow.
we would every donut we would get, we'd sell out within an hour or two in the mornings. So we did that
So
for a while.
were those a hit then? I mean, like,
Absolutely, yeah. And you got your loyal Krispy Kremers up there.
Oh, yeah, boy.
Oh,
I'll tell you
yeah,
what,
because you got the
too,
Chillicothe
you
Krispy Kreme.
and then you also got new system over there, man. With I mean, Chillicothe, a man could get fat over there real
quick. They got,
yeah.
two Tim Hortons, don't they?
Yeah,
There
yeah,
is,
but
yeah.
I don't know how Tim Horton stays in business over there with Krispy Kreme and new system, and I don't know. I mean,
Yeah, I don't know. That's
they got really good soup.
Donuts.
Yeah.
yeah.
I figured you met the Ondera boys through basketball.
No, so we've played a lot of basketball together.
Okay.
over there. We've had some
Do
competitive.
you know Taylor Step?
Yeah, I do.
Okay,
I know
that's my
Taylor.
cousin.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Taylor and Christian are my cousins.
I know
And
Taylor.
Mariah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know Taylor well, and he's kind of been a little bit of a good resource and asset to us during this whole time. And
Yeah.
his connections with the economic development groups.
Oh,
and
yeah.
just
Taylor's
helping-
doing his thing, man.
Yeah,
he's doing his thing.
he's a good dude.
He is, and the Ondera boys. I don't know. I knew their dad, or I know their dad. I went to church with them back whenever I was pretty young, and I think Jesse, he's the oldest, right?
Mhm,
And
yeah.
he was just probably being born whenever I was going to church with them. Kyle, I followed those kids through their high school. They were great high school basketball players.
Yeah.
There's a daughter too. I think what's her name?
Jenna.
Jenna.
Yep.
Jenna. Yeah.
A lot of them were coming up right when I wasn't.
Yeah,
I wasn't
me too.
around.
They were
Yeah,
so much younger than me that
Yeah.
I knew the name and I followed them as much as I could. But
I
wasn't-
know their parents. I know they're nice. I know they're great people.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
so. But
Yeah.
I don't. I'm not really that familiar with the kids.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Yep. But yeah, I've followed those guys. They're great guys.
Yeah.
They've been around for a long time. I know that. I knew that they all had ties up there in Chillicothe doing something, don't they? Or do they live up there now?
They're bootleggers, man.
Well, yeah, they're bootleggers. Didn't they? Did one of them move there or something?
Kyle just did.
Kyle just did. That's what it was. You were telling me about
Yeah,
that.
Kyle just did this week. So
Yeah, this week. Oh.
Yeah,
The,
yeah.
the Donut Duke boys.
Yeah,
I know, right? Right.
that's bad. I live kind of out there by the Amish bakery, and we go over there a lot on Saturdays. And,
Yeah.
man, that place is a zoo, boys.
Oh, it is. It's unbelievable. I mean, that place is packed, and I love those donuts, but I cannot eat donuts. If I eat a donut,
you're diabetic.
I'm out. Yeah, it's out. It's bed all afternoon.
Really?
It's just not worth it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I love them, but like if I eat one of those wagon wheels, I'm asleep within an hour.
Really?
Yeah, blood sugar through the roof. Yeah, just feeling like crap. I mean, and boy, I'll tell you, that would be nice to be able to just
Indulge
eat
in a
about
donut.
4 of them.
Oh.
Yeah.
And a good cup of Brazil, man.
I'll
never forget
Like
that.
I can't do just one of them. You know,
I took my stepdad out there one time, and he'd never been out there, and we went out to get some donuts.
Yeah.
He's a big eater. Me and him both big eaters, you know. And I'll never forget. We go in, we grab these donuts, and we get out to the truck. He didn't say a word. He was just looking out the window. Never did. He'd go,
yeah.
and he
Well,
speechless.
He was speechless. He,
when I worked when I worked for that company in Circleville, occasionally like people would bring in donuts. There was a place in Circleville that they all thought was just hey, I mean these donuts or what. And I thought it was back when I was living out on Franklin Valley. And I thought I'm gonna show them what a donut is all about. And I showed up with 24 of those things in there, and you should have just listened to the people sing, man. Oh, where did these come from? What in the world? I'm like, well, I made those myself.
ooh, now some of that with that Brazilian roast
Oh,
coffee.
my
Now that
goodness.
that'd be delicious. I can't. Then maybe just throw a little bit of that.
I'll tell you what, man. I really like that.
I was intrigued by the bottle.
Yeah.
Whenever he brought it out the other day, I was like, "Oh, is there just so much of this I'm allowed to drink?"
Yeah, it's really good.
I mean, it's that potent. You know what I mean? Like it's like
there's 2 shots of espresso in that.
see,
That's what you
what's
said.
awesome,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. So you won't sleep.
See,
for
I
a
love
week.
ordering like lattes, and I've heard that like this would be good to clear this up.
Yeah.
I've heard like any more than 2 shots of espresso, you're just paying for waste. Because like I would feel like I was working with a guy a lot, one of our suppliers, and we traveled a lot together, and you're tired sometimes in the mornings, like we got to go to like 4 a.m. and he's ordering like he's like I'll have a vanilla latte with 4 shots of espresso.
Yeah.
And I'm like, 4 shots? Yeah. And then I'm like, well, give me one of those too.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
We talked about this. Chad's a sucker for marketing.
Oh yeah. I was like, I didn't even know you could get 4 shots. And
That's hilarious.
yeah,
Yeah.
like the standard is 2, correct?
That's yeah. I mean, so most of our lattes are 12 or 16 ounce, small or large, and our 12 ouncers are 2 shots, and our larges come with 3 shots.
See, I always felt really cool being like, double espresso
Right.
on there or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that mean 2 or does that mean 4?
Again,
that's your
vary.
measurement.
Yeah, exactly.
That's your
it can
measurement.
vary. So
That would be up to the barista, I guess.
Yeah.
And I didn't particularly care. I just felt like I was a member of the club.
absolutely
by
yeah,
saying that.
yeah. There's a lot of terms that have been kind of lost in translation,
Yeah.
But I would say, to answer your question of like, I mean, there really is only so much.
Look at it.
They're empty.
They're empty. Look at it.
Too much
Sloppy
coffee.
cigar smoker. Yeah.
There's only so much.
He's jacked up on his coffee.
Yeah.
I feel the same way. I feel like I'm about ready to
Do
jump
you guys
up.
care? Do you guys care if I stand?
Did you know you were doing that to us when you brought us this plethora of caffeine?
He's like, I'm gonna watch them drink them all and just see what happens.
Are we really on your podcast?
I know, right? Taylor, it works, man.
He's like, you get my cousin all juiced up on that coffee. It's hard to tell what he'll do.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's good stuff.
But I mean, case in point, you see, like there really at the end of the day is only so much caffeine that your body can absorb before
Right.
it just kind of it's just like water.
Throws it out.
Yeah. But I mean, I think it's quite a bit,
Yeah.
So
I think we've had quite a
I know you see what's happening. Right
I
now.
can't imagine how check his chapter.
Hell, I'm about ready to pick that one of yours up
I
and
know.
drink it.
You want to drink it? I mean,
I
I'd like to,
love
I was going
that
to take it
stuff.
home and give it to Mindy.
Yeah, take it home, give it to me.
Okay.
Well, there's more where that comes from.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, you're supposed to be bringing me a big
I
old
can't
batch
wait
of
to.
it.
I can't wait to start grinding up some of this.
Yeah.
I have to get a grinder tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, I'll be carrying this here within
Yeah, tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
we'll have that ready to go. I've been wanting to, have some coffee in there just for even my benefit. Cause
Oh, yeah.
I walk around there at night just drink
Now,
coffee.
do you guys have coffee brewing in there at all?
We used to.
Does anybody ever order a cup of coffee?
Not really.
I mean, I wouldn't think. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know. I'm
Now-
gonna go down to the bar and get a cup of coffee. Yeah.
We're going to try some coffee martinis.
Oh,
And we talked about that the
Some
other day.
mixers
Some
and things
mixers
like
and
that.
things.
Nice, that'd be cool.
Yeah, we're going to try. I mean, we're going to sell the coffee and we're going to sell these. But
Yeah.
I mean, I think especially going back to like those NA beers that you and I were talking about.
Yeah, very
I
similar.
think there'll be a lot of people that may want to just come in and drink a coffee.
I agree.
And so
Now, you're going to have to watch those around Jeff.
Oh, I know Jeff's
Boy,
already.
that man will be bouncing off the walls.
Whenever I told him we were getting roast coffee, he just lit up like a Christmas tree. He goes, "Oh my God, man, roast is my favorite thing." I mean, he just,
Oh,
do you know
yeah.
Jeff James? Do you know him?
I
He was on the show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's all into those crafty drinks. You know,
Yeah.
he loves. He's a bartender that loves to make his mixology's his thing.
Yeah.
So
Is
he's
he-
wanting to try one.
Is that who made that like thin mint?
Yes.
drink the
Yeah.
other-
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. That thing was.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's very
He'll
creative.
be dangerous with these. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's already got that, and I sent him that idea that you showed me there with the. With
He's
the
a
martini.
high energy dude though. Anyway, man, you just got to tell him, hey man, don't drink the juice.
Yeah.
I
Well, there's
mean,
people that
make the juice, don't drink
Or
it.
drink it and just upsell everybody.
Yeah,
Well,
there
there's
you go. There you go.
Well, like this time of year, stouts are a big thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I call this stout season. Once the leaves fall off, it starts getting a little wetter or more wet, and getting a little
Bathing
dreary
suit
outside.
season's over.
Yeah, and you'll start having people come in. What stout you got? What stout you got?
Yeah.
And I'm the same way.
Yeah.
And did you see where they recalled all those Guinness?
Yeah.
Who
Guinness
tagged us
NA,
in that?
Philip Malone.
Phil Malone, yeah. And
Yeah. I didn't even realize that was out, but I think the more I read, and Phil could maybe clarify it for us, I think that was in the UK.
yeah.
I
that's
don't
what it
think that
looked.
had made it across the pond yet.
Yeah, well, I hadn't seen it out in stores, but
No.
that's a stout. Okay, so I don't know if are you familiar with the stout beers?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, so aren't those like backgrounded with coffee, some sort of?
I think notoriously. Well, for instance, we're working with Old Capitol Brewery is
Oh,
a
yeah.
new brewery opening up in Chillicothe,
Okay,
and they're using our coffee actually for a coffee stout.
Coffee style.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I think they go hand in hand. For
I
sure.
do too. Yeah. So, the idea with it is that I had, and not that this is a new idea.
Yeah.
It's just something I've been wanting to do for a while. See, look here, Chad is a mess.
damn.
He's so shaky he can't even hold on to his cigars. My Lord, Trent, what have you done to my buddy, Tyler? What are we gonna do with him?
Boy, we got to have a slow mo replay of that. I mean, it was like
We're
cigar flying around.
We're gonna have to take a time out and let Chad run up and down the stairs real fast.
Yeah. If you guys don't care, I'm just going to run back and forth across the thing here.
But I've wanted to make a coffee drink. I think because people come in for those coffee stouts, and I was like, well, why would you? And because I used to put a little nip in my coffee every now and then.
Well, I mean,
of whiskey.
Some
do you
Baileys.
guys
and
ever
things
do,
like
do you guys ever do an Irish coffee in there?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it'd be different with good coffee.
Yeah, it
probably.
would. Yeah. So that's kind of not that that's why I was getting it. I've been wanting to carry coffee, number
Sure.
one. But I thought, man, that would be a nice little crafty thing that you don't necessarily have to be a brewery to do.
No.
You can do that, especially the mixology portion, not so much the stout
Well,
beer.
and I think people really enjoy the mixology portion of that, man. I mean, there's a ton of mixed drinks that you could incorporate coffee into.
Oh yeah. Even
But,
if it's
you
just
know,
a little bit of coffee.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
but
you
I
know.
mean, and I think that's something that you probably don't find
yeah.
that often.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you get. I mean, I just think that could be something that's a little bit of a niche too.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah, I do too.
Yep.
Yeah, so I just had an idea why you were doing that, why you said that. So thank you for that. I was like, that's exactly what I want to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. I think that it'll go good, and especially these cold brews are kind of. I mean, like we could definitely take this pumpkin spice. I mean, that right there, you throw anything into that. I'm thinking that would do good with like any rum.
Yeah.
I mean, anything
Yeah.
that would go great. Spiced rum. You do any of that stuff.
Well, I'll tell you, I think any of this, like vodka, is like the easy mixer because it doesn't have a lot of flavor, but it might ruin it.
That might ruin that.
Might not be enough. Yeah,
I don't know. We just have to play with it.
Yeah.
But and like I said, not that I would really just soon say this in a bottle. I mean.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Especially this one right here. This one would be really good. I mean, people, especially if you're a Red Bull and vodka type of person, and you wanted this with anything.
Yeah.
What was that one that it's? I'm thinking of the drink.
I would maybe mix it with like Kahlua or something. Man. You know?
Yeah, yeah. There's something we'll figure something out in there. I don't know.
I mean, what is White Russian?
Yeah, like a
Takes
white.
it
Yeah,
out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, like substitute this for the Kahlua.
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah. I was trying to think. What's that? It's like a pepperminty type of.
Rumpelmans,
Yeah, something like that would go great.
peppermint
in
shop, schnapps of some
kind. That would taste really good. And it'd be a good Christmas drink.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
Well,
you're
and
into
you'll find
now.
people will have a little taste of that, and then they're going to want to take a 6-pack home that night for the next morning. you
Sure,
know what I mean?
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I mean, this is not something you're not going to come in and drink 12 of these.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, you know what I think you'll have people doing is coming in and taking them to go.
I do too.
like
Yeah.
what he said.
Well, like
Yeah.
he said, he had a lot of buddies down here that was like, "Man, you mean I can get roast coffee down here?" And it's like, "Yeah, you can
Yep.
come in here now." So.
Absolutely, yeah.
And there's a lot of them are the same guys that are coming in anyway. So,
Yeah.
I-
Summertime, man, those we can't keep those stocked. We have people that will come in a day before they're going on a road trip, and they're like, "Hey, I want 24 of those for my road trip or for my bachelor party, and I'm going to put them in a cooler or whatever."
Right.
yeah.
And it's just all we
Do
can
you do mail orders
Not with those.
with these?
With that, yeah, absolutely.
When I ordered that Black Rifle, it man, you know what they put in there that just made you want to go back to the website? Stickers everywhere.
Yeah.
Man, I bet you I've got 12 stickers from
Yeah.
them.
Is that right?
In 2 bags of
Interesting.
thing.
Yeah.
They, I thought that'd be handy to share with you because that was nice. I was like, man, that was kind of cool.
Well, yeah, we've got a cool little package when you order online.
Oh,
We've
do
got
you?
some stickers, and then we're big fans of The Office.
Mhm.
Okay.
And, so we printed up these Michael Scott cards, and there's a famous scene where he holds this mug up, and it says "World's Greatest Boss" on it.
Yeah.
And so we photoshopped that off, and we photoshopped our brand on that.
Oh, okay.
And so, and on the front of the card, it says, "I bought this mug for myself." Just kind of like that
nice.
Michael Scott
yeah,
humor.
yeah.
And then on the back, it's blank, and I put like a little handwritten note, and
Yeah,
everybody.
well, I noticed even your bottles are handwritten on the
Yeah.
date on them and all that stuff. That's
Yep.
cool.
Yep.
That's really cool. That specializes.
Yeah,
you
there's
know.
a personal touch to it all for sure.
We'll take
So,
Blanton's. That's what Blanton's does.
Oh, heck yeah, man.
They go nuts. So.
Yeah.
Anything else we need to cover, boys?
I don't know, Trent. Is there anything we missed?
Oh man.
Well, what it means is you'll have to come back.
Hey.
Yeah. Think about it. We'll have to get you back on here.
We
man.
could do a volume 2.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm in.
Episode 2.
Hey, tell everybody where to find your podcast and your show.
Yeah, so we just embarked kind of on a little podcast, YouTube, social media video segment ourselves, and it's called Rōst Rituals.
Okay.
You can find it our social media at roastcoffee.com. At Rōst Coffee is our Instagram, and it's spelled ROST coffee. No A in that. And the Rōst Rituals is basically, it's kind of twofold. Part of it is educational, so we teach you how to basically brew better coffee at home and kind of go over coffee 101 basics.
I need that.
Answer a lot of questions for you, you know.
Yeah.
But then the other part of it is, and this kind of started because of COVID, you know, our 2 main pillars are coffee and community. And so when we were shut down on the inside and we were takeout only, I was talking to my marketing guy. I'm like, how can we transform the experience that you get when you come into the shop? There's a culture that we've worked hard to try and build, you know.
Sure.
So it's not just the product, but it's the product of the experience that you get in there. And so I'm like, how can we translate this into a digital way, you know? And so we basically kind of created an opportunity to have other people jump on our platform of maybe other influencers or other popular people in their realm, instead of going to them saying, hey, put us on your channel or put us on your thing. It's like, hey, why don't you come over to us and share your story and have a cup of coffee with us. And so that kind of turned into
or enough to awake the dead.
Yeah.
And so then that evolved into this video series called Rōst Rituals, where I sit down with people and have a cup of coffee and do basically what you experience in the store.
Yeah.
And kind of what we're doing tonight, which is why I signed up for
awesome.
this.
Yeah,
You know?
That's awesome.
That's so we're our goal was to be like barroom talk. You know, if you were sitting at a bar, you know what if you could dive in a little deeper at a bar, you know what would be some of the conversations. That's kind of our thing. Share a drink, you know.
Yep.
Do our thing.
We like to just talk to interesting people and hear their stories.
Yeah.
And what they have to say.
So they can find you. What's your YouTube channel?
It's Rōst Coffee.
Rōst Coffee.
ROST Coffee.
And then the Instagram is just Rōst Coffee.
At Rōst Coffee. Website is roastcoffee.com. All that, yeah.
Well, man, thank you for coming on here and bringing us this wonderful stuff and educating us on what we need to be doing to do it right.
Yeah.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
No problem, man.
It's kind of like role reversal because I just started doing this on the other end, and I'm like, hey, you know what? I'll sign up for this. You know?
Heck yeah,
absolutely.
We'll get you back on here, man.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Trent
Thank you,
Fannin,
guys.
ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, thanks,
Yeah,
man.
Rōst Coffee.
Thanks.
Cool. Thank
See
you.